If I remember correctly, the issues for the 787 Dreamliners is that the fasteners for the fuselage were incorrectly tightened. They were tightened a little too much, which can cause problems. And now there is a backlog of 787 Dreamliners that Boeing is dealing with, along with all the other airplane issues that they're dealing with because they're finally being exposed for the lack of production safety.
New safety concerns for Boeing. The company says it's investigating a new issue on some of its undelivered 787 Dreamliners. Trevor Alt is here with the details on that. Trevor, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. So this is another concerning report about Boeing manufacturing. It comes as they're already under heightened attention and heightened requirements from regulators. We now are learning they may have been incorrectly installing hundreds of fasteners on the planes they're in the process of assembling.
With a record-breaking summer travel surge already taking off this morning, alarming.
I find it funny how it says it discovered new issues in some of its undelivered planes when in reality they knew about these issues and they knew about them for a long time and just been ignoring it. But now that they can't ignore it, they're going to act like they're doing the investigations into these issues and are actively trying to solve them so that they can try to look better in the public image because at the moment they look pretty shitty for everything that they've done so far.
New reports of safety issues at Boeing. The embattled aircraft manufacturer says it's discovered a new issue, telling the FAA some fasteners may have been improperly installed on the fuselages of their 787 Dreamliner planes. Reuters reporting sources said the issue involves incorrect tightening in more than 900 fasteners per plane, split equally between both sides of the jet's mid-body.
The design of the airplane is not in question here. It's the execution and the inspection of the building process.
Boeing says the flaw impacted planes that have not yet been delivered, and quote, "We are taking the time necessary to ensure all airplanes meet our delivery standards prior to delivery." The FAA.
When you have a very poor standard of airplanes, what does that really mean? When you honestly, if there's like objects inside components that shouldn't be there, uh, fasteners that aren't there, or bolts that are tightened too much or too little, or something like that. What does your standards mean about anything whatsoever?
FAA says it is investigating and is working closely with Boeing to determine appropriate actions and to ensure an immediate fix in the production system.
I don't believe that the existing aircraft in the fleet would be allowed to fly for another minute if this was really a structural problem.
It all comes as public trust has wavered over Boeing's string of safety incidents, like the door plug detaching from an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 in January. The FAA putting Boeing under heightened regulatory scrutiny in response.
FAA's approach was too hands-off, too focused on paperwork audits, and not focused enough on inspections. We have changed that approach over the last several months, and those changes are permanent.
And federal.
Yeah, these airplanes should have been constantly inspected by inspectors um, basically every day with FAA inspectors and not just inspectors hired by Boeing and their supply manufacturers who then can have those complaints and stuff ignored, which there were a few employees who came forward and were telling how they were inspectors for product quality and how the company would tell them to ignore it. One guy saying he found 100 defective parts a day and the company wouldn't do anything about it. That's why you need uh, inspectors from the FAA coming in and doing the inspecting and then the company can't do anything about it.
Federal regulators have also announced they are now investigating after a Southwest Airlines Boeing 787 MAX 8 did an unusual rolling motion in the air. They say it might have happened because of a backup power source on the plane. What happened is called a Dutch roll, and for lack of better prop, this is what I'm going to use. So a Dutch roll is that it did that with the wings and the tail slid at the same time. So it did both of those at the same time, which a plane is not supposed to do when it's in the middle of the air. So that's another thing that regulators are now diving into with Boeing on top of all these manufacturers.